So right here on number 1, it says determine whether each equation is linear. Remember, you can't have any letters, any variables multiplied together. So right here, number 1, x times y, that's already non-linear right there. So on number 1, you would say no, or you would say not linear. On number 2, it doesn't have any x's and y's multiplied together. It doesn't have any x's or y's in the denominator of fractions. Like even down here you have fractions, but there's no x's or y's in the denominator. And there's no exponents on the x or the y. There's no exponent on the x or the y. So number 2 and 3, they are linear. Okay, so number 1 was not linear. We're done with number 1. But when you move on to numbers 2 and 3, they are linear. And then it says, write yes or no. Okay, so yes, they are linear. But then it says, if yes, write the equation in standard form. So once again, what is standard form? I like to say capital AX plus capital BY equals capital C. That C came out kind of small, huh? So on number 2 and 3, they are linear. So let's change them to standard form. You want capital AX. So we already have an X right here, but we also have an X over here. So let's get rid of that minus 4X by going plus 4X to both sides. Plus 4X. So our new equation is going to be 12X minus 3Y equals 6. And that is standard form. And then the final thing that they ask you is after writing it in standard form, they want you to find the x and the y-intercepts. So we could show our work, or we could go with the quicker route. I'm going to actually show my work over here on the side. I'm going to rewrite the equation 12x minus 3y equals 6, and then I'm going to do the x and y-intercept work for this guy. So for the x-intercept, we must set y equal to 0 and solve. For the y-intercept, we have to set x equal to 0 and solve. So for my x-intercept, I need to set y equal to 0 and solve. It's going to say 12x minus 3 times 0 equals 6. So 3 times 0 is nothing. So you really have 12x equals 6. And then you'd have to divide by 12 on both. So you'd have x equals 1/2. 6 divided by 12 is not 2. 6 divided by 12, you can't do it. You'd have to just reduce it. So the x-intercept is 1/2. As a coordinate, your x value is 1/2, and your y value is 0. So 1/2 comma 0 is your actual coordinate for the x-intercept. For the y-intercept, you must set x equal to 0. So it's going to be 12 times 0 minus 3y equals 6. And 12 times 0 is 0. So let's just rewrite what we have right here. Or let's just solve what we have right here. You want to get rid of that negative 3 in front of the y. You're going to have to divide by negative 3. So you're going to have y equals negative 2. That's your y-intercept. As a coordinate, let me write it in red here. As a coordinate, it's going to be x being 0 and y being negative 2. So that's how you find the x and the y-intercept of that particular problem, number 2. Moving on to number 3. It does have the x's and the y's on the left side of the equal sign, but you want to get rid of the fractions. So we have to multiply everything by the LCD, or we could get rid of one fraction at a time. So the LCD is 12. So if we multiply everything by 12, this times 12, this times 12, and this times 12, everything by 12. Notice that I wrote the 12 up on top on the numerator portion, because then you really do have 12 on top divided by 4 on the bottom, and that'll give you 3. So you really have 3 times x, that gives you 3x. And up here, 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 4 times y gives you a 4y, and of course it has a minus in front of it. And 1 times 12 is 12, and that is your standard form equation right there. So now that we know our standard form equation, now all we need to do is find the x and the y-intercept. So on the other one I showed my work. On this one I'm just going to give you the answer by doing the shortcut. And the shortcut would be to cover up the y, so you could find the x-intercept. So if you take a look at 3x equals 12, all you do is divide by 3 and divide by 3, and you get the answer what? X equals 4. So the x-intercept is really 4. Make sense? And now the shortcut is to just cover up the x. And what kind of equation do we have now? You have negative 4y equals 12. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. What's our answer? X equals, or y-intercept is negative 3. I forgot to put the t on the int. Yeah, so there are your x-intercept and your y-intercept with the shortcut. Really easy. If you wanted to write them as coordinates, for the x-intercept, it crosses the x at 4, and we set the y equal to 0. And for the y-intercept, it crosses the y at negative 3, and we have to set the x equal to 0 on that one. So that's how you use a shortcut. I hope that helps. Let's move on to, number 4, find the x and the y-intercepts. This is like easy. If you get this wrong, I don't know what to tell you. There's the x-intercept right here. Where's the x-intercept at? Negative 3, right? So if you want to write it as a coordinate, what is that location of that blue coordinate right there? Negative 3, 0. How about the y? That's the x-intercept. How about the y-intercept? Let me do this one in red. 0, 3. Simple. Simple. Let's move on to the next one, number 5. Find the slope of the line that passes through. So number 5 is another one of those slope formula problems. So what you have to do on this one is first label your points x, y, 1, 1, 2, 2, and then use the slope formula. And of course plug in our appropriate values. y2 is 9, y1 is 9, x2 is 3, x1 is 5, and when you do the math you end up with 0 over negative 2. Now 0 over any number, 0 divided by any number is 0. So on this one your slope is 0. And that's it. Number 6, what's your slope? Now you could, if you wanted to, label your x1, y1, x2, y2 and use a formula, but that would be a total waste of time because you could clearly see the line and you know the steepness of this line. How steep is this line? It's 0, right? Like the slope is 0. That's it. You're done. Move on. Number 7. How about the slope of this line? They already give you 2 points. Here's one of them. Here's the other. From left to right, am I going up or am I going down? Up. I'm going up, obviously, right? So I know my slope is going to be positive. How much do I go up? I go up 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, 4 units, correct? So I'm going to start by saying my slope is a positive 4 because it's going 4 up. Now, after I go 4 up from left to right, 1, 2, 3, 4, how much do I go across? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my denominator, my run, is 5. And that's it. Honestly, guys, the test is going to be easy if you're paying attention. Number 8, another slope formula problem. Label them. Write your formula. Plug in your values. So y2 is 5, y1 is 8, x2 is negative 7, x1 is negative 7. Change the minus minus to plus plus. You're going to end up with a negative 3 over 0. Anything over 0, when you have 0 underneath, what's your slope? Undefined. And that's it. Undefined. Moving on, number 9, another easy slope problem. These are ridiculous. From left to right, check it out. Where am I going? Am I going up or am I going down? Down. So from left to right, I'm going down. I know my slope's going to be negative. Question is, how much do I go down? I go down how many units? 1, 2, 3 units, right? So my slope is going down 3 units. And how much is it running? After I go down 1, 2, 3, what do? I go to the right how many units? 1. So that means the run is 1. So my slope is negative 3 over 1. Probably on the multiple choice, you're only going to see it as negative 3, even though you know it's negative 3 over 1. We're going to ace this test so far? Yes. Okay, how about number 10? Should I do it, or is that a waste of time since you guys already know slope formula? Move on to a different one or do it? Let's do it. Label them. I'm just going to leave the slope formula blank, and I'm going to plug in my values. y2 is -4, y1 is 3, x2 is 7, x1 is 6. On top, -4 minus 3, the answer is -7. And on the bottom, 7 minus 6, the answer is 1. So what's my final answer? It's just -7. That's my slope. M equals -7. I saw some people on the last quiz, this question was on it. Some people put -1/7. Totally wrong, right? It's just -7. Let's move on to the next one. Find the value of r so that the line passes through each pair of points has a given slope. So this is where it gets a little more challenging. You have to, again, label your coordinates, write down your slope formula, and after that, you want to plug in all the values that they give you. So I'm talking about taking this m value of 1/2 and plugging it in right there. So you're going to have a 1/2 right there instead of m. And then you're going to have the fraction with the subtraction. And let's plug in our values. y2 is 7, y1 is r, x2 is 6, x1 is -2. And change the minus to plus. So we have a new equation right here. And right here we truly do have a proportion. Let me actually rewrite it so it'll look nicer. We really have the equation 1/2 equals 7 minus r over 8. So right here we do have a proportion, which means that we can cross multiply. When you have one fraction equal to another fraction, we do have a 7 minus r, so put that in parentheses. And now let's cross multiply. What do I mean by cross multiply? Let's take this 1 and multiply it by 8. 1 times 8, and let me actually write it out, show my work. 1 times 8 is going to equal 2 times this binomial up here, 7 minus r. So let me write that. 2 times the binomial 7 minus r. So our equation, 8 times 1 is 8. And then over here, 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times -r is -2r. And now I have to just solve this simple red equation right here. I'm going to get rid of the 14 by subtracting 14 and subtracting 14. And I end up with a -6. So -6 equals -2r. If you divide by -2, divide by -2, cancels out. R equals +3. And that's your answer. If you think this question's familiar, it is. It probably came out on your homework and probably also came out on the quiz from last week. Let's flip the paper over. Finally getting to the fun stuff here, where we use slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So once again, they're telling us to write an equation in slope-intercept form. And what is slope-intercept form? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So it's pretty clear here that you only need two things to write the equation. You need the m and you need the b. So what is the m? M is slope. So you have a line right here. Here's one point, here's another point. From left to right, am I going up or am I going down? Up. So my slope is going to be positive. Okay. So how much does it go up actually? 2 units. So far, my slope is up 2. Now, how much do I run from, if after going up 2, how much do I run? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my run is 5. So my slope is 2/5. The other one is even easier than slope. My b value, that's simply where it crosses my y-axis. The b value is the y-intercept. So where does it cross my y-axis? It crosses at 2. So the b value is 2. Now we could actually write our slope-intercept form equation by simply putting the 2/5 right here in this position and taking the b value of 2 and putting it right there. So what's my actual final answer? The equation y equals 2/5 x plus 2. And that's it. We're done. That's number 12. So all of these are super easy. Looking at number 13, the slope on number 13 is what? From left to right, does it go up or does it go down? Down. Okay, so we know it's negative, right? So it's going to be a negative rise. And how much does it go down? 1, 2 units. So negative 2. Sorry, negative 2. That's a disgusting. Let me fix that. Negative 2 is the rise. And how much do I run after going down 2? 3. You run 3. So it's negative 2/3, my slope. How about the b value? That's the easiest question. Where does it cross the y-axis? It crosses right here at negative 2. So what's my answer? It's my equation. Y equals negative 2/3 x minus 2. Now you don't have to have the plus sign. You could just write it as minus 2. Or you could put plus negative 2, but it's easier to just write minus 2. Okay, moving on to the next one. Write an equation of the line with the given slope and the y-intercept. This is like the easiest question ever. They're giving you the slope and they're giving you the b value. All you have to do is y equals negative 3/7 x minus 7. And that's it. Free points. Number 15. What is the slope-intercept form of the equation of the line with the slope of 1/4 and the y-intercept at the origin? Out of those, it is A. Again, they're giving you the slope, which is the value in front of x, and they're giving you the y-intercept. They're telling you that it crosses where? At the origin, which means 0. So if you think about y equals mx plus b, it's y equals the slope x plus 0. So that would be the correct answer, A. I mean, you could put the plus 0 over here if you wanted to make it look nicer, but you don't need to. Number 16, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line with the slope of negative 3/4 and the y-intercept of negative 5. What's the answer? Pick one. C. There we go. Why? Because it has a slope negative 3/4 and it has the y-intercept of negative 5. It's like free points, guys. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form with the given slope and the y-intercept. Are you kidding me? What's the answer? Number 17. Y equals 1/4 x plus 3. The next one, y equals 3/2 x minus 4. Everybody should ace the test tomorrow. Number 19. What is the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line with the slope of 5 and the y-intercept of negative 8? C. Muy bien. C. Number 20. Write the equation in slope-intercept form. What is a slope from here to there? How much do I rise and how much do I run?
3.
The slope is rise 3, run 2. Okay, so what's my b value, my y-intercept value? Where does this line cross the y-axis? 3. So what's my equation? Y equals 3/2x plus 3. 21. Find the slope of the line that passes through each pair of points. I think we got this. Do I need to do this one? We've done so many of these slope formula problems. All right, let's do it. Bless you. Using the slope formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 8, y1 is 9, x2 is negative 2, x1 is 3. Now, when I do 8 take away 9, up on top I get negative 1. And when I do negative 2 take away 3 on the bottom, I get negative 5. So what's my answer? My answer is positive 1/5, guys. Why? Because a negative divided by a negative is positive. And not only that, 1 divided by 5, you can't do that. It's just a fraction, 1 over 5. That's 1 divided by 5. If it were 5 over 1, yeah, the answer would just be 5. Right there, 1/5 is simply 1/5. So your answer is positive 1 over 5. Don't mess up on that. Now, we also have a second portion of the test, which is on graphing. I hope you guys review a lot the questions from the homework on Monday. The one that had the back side of your notes that had nothing but graphing. Review those a lot. So another thing to study would be these notes from Monday. Okay, More importantly, the questions from the back side, let me move this out of the way. This is the questions from the back side. It was, your homework was pure graphing. Okay, so you need to practice these guys right here. Like number 1, it's already in slope-intercept form. Where does it cross the y-axis? Tell me. 3. Put a dot at 3. Now from that point, what's my rise over run? I'm going down 1. Why am I going down 1? Because it's negative. If it were positive, I'd be going up 1. But because it's negative, I'm going down 1 over 2. You always run to the right, never to the left. So let's put a dot right here, and then connect your dots, and you're done. So that's the second part of the test. Super easy. I would definitely go back and study this whole page. And there's a video explaining every single question. I posted that on Monday. So you could go back and watch that video of every single one of these because they're super easy. Make sure you don't mess up on these also, because y equals 2, it's simply the horizontal line crossing the y value at 2. Or something like x equals 2, that's the vertical line crossing at. Anyways, go back and watch the video to make sure that you know how to graph every single one of these, because these will come out on the second portion of the test. In addition to that, I would also look at yesterday's homework because it had a couple more practice problems right here on graphing. Right? Oh, this one crosses at 2 and then it goes down 1 over 2. Or this one needs to get written in slope-intercept form first, right? You have to divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Then you could look at it in y equals mx plus b. This one does not cross at 6 and it does not cross at 2. And of course, I made a video for this as well. So go back and watch yesterday's video also. Number 10, this one's great because it's in standard form. You could find the x and y intercepts if you wanted to and graph that way. Or you could get the y by itself to get in y equals mx plus b. Again, watch the videos because this is the second portion of the test.